my forefathers were quite wealthy. There was a point in time that they used to import biscuits from Belgium and all. They lost all the money, so that sometimes I should curse them. I don't know.
Okay.
CA makes you just the way, army makes men out of boys.
What will you do to make investing easily available for every citizen in India?
Mutual funds are available. What India needs is lakhs and lakhs of mutual fund distributors.
But tell me, why you always talk about stories?
Data is probably at the back end.
Yes.
But story is something that connects with us and that gets passed on for generations. Every student who said no to sales, he's going to be selling himself in an interview room.
How AI is going to be influencing the industry to evolve?
AI, so it's like nuclear power. Either you get fearful of it, it's a bomb, or you can use it to create clean energy.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Wealth Farmer Show, brought to you by TrackFinder Financial Services. Today, I'm introducing somebody who has been a teacher of wealth management and done over 1,000 seminars for corporates, investment advisors and clients pan-India. He is none other than Mr. Nikhil Kamat from DSP Mutual Funds. If I have to give you an introduction about him, then this podcast won't be enough. He is a CA. Above all, is a rank holder there, vice president, and avid reader. Is also an amazing storyteller. Today, I promise you, he's going to share a lot of insights about how one should lead a wealthy life, happy life. Let's hear it from Nikhil Kamat.
Thanks a lot for having me on this podcast. It's my pleasure completely.
Nikhil, you've been a CA. I would like to start with your CA student days to vice president of DSP Mutual Funds.
That's an interesting question. No one has asked me before this. But as they say, accidents happen in life. So I became a CA.
Okay.
Being very honest, it's like, in investments, the way you, present clients' goals to achieve. My father gave me a goal that you'll get your first car. So that's how I cleared my CA entrance for that. And then I didn't know what I got into. So very tough. And CA makes you just the way, army makes men out of boys. I will say that same thing what CA does to a lot of people, that you realize that, okay, it's not about percentages in life, the way clients in our life say, okay, I want highest performing fund. There is no highest performing marks. You have to just pass. That's the first thing.
End of the day, nobody asks you.
Yes.
What percentage?
Absolutely. It's the same thing in life. No one asks you how much returns you made. You achieved your goal.
What a wonderful insight into that. Okay. Very, very well put, especially the army one, because I have a lot of army clients.
Yeah.
So they are going to be very happy hearing this one. I have been in the industry for quite some time. So a lot of people get inspired, creating their wealth. So I tell them, this is a family oriented one.
Yeah.
You have to be truthful to what you're creating. True. So I wanted to know how many generations in your family been through this wealth creation journey?
Probably I'll be the first one. So to give you a brief background, what I've been told, my forefathers were quite wealthy. There was a point in time that they used to import biscuits from Belgium and all. So they lost all the money. So that sometimes I should curse them. I don't know. But my grandfather came to Bombay and he started by being a cab driver. From there, he got my father educated, who got into a bank, which was one of the most renowned banks that time, Grindlay's Bank. So my father fostered in me the values of investment. and invest in education was the first thing. So which is how he got me to become CA. And most importantly, a lot of integrity. So I always believe that, wealth without integrity has got no value. And that's certain learnings which I carry forward today.
That's so deep. That's really very deep. Wealth with integrity. Going forward, I wanted to know, you're a veteran in the industry?
Still a student.
You're coming into the bracket of those elite group who is always believed in educating. But tell me, why you always talk about stories? Every presentation that I attend, you always start with one story, leads to another 5 more stories. Why this storytelling?
See, I think so. The entire world population, whether you take it from Africa to India, the older civilizations, wisdom has been passed through stories. It's not been data. If you remember your grandmom telling you stories, you will probably not remember her story. You'll remember the smell in that room, what she was wearing somewhat. You'll not remember the date. You'll not remember the time. You'll not remember what you are wearing. So data is probably at the back end.
Yes.
But story is something that connects with us and that gets passed on for generations. Most of our wisdom of our ancestors is through stories. So that's what I believe that, and sometimes our best teachers, why we consider the best teachers, because they could talk about a subject in such a simple way that you started falling in love with them. So that's what I believe, that if I'm educating a lot of investors, then it should be in the most simplest way and easiest way where they can take home, and it should always stay with them even beyond that.
Okay, that reminds me of my Malayalam teacher. When I left Cochin, she said, wherever you go, 2 things you should have. One is a pencil and a book.
Good.
Book I understood, but I never understood why she quoted pencil. Later, when I realized a pen would have run out, a pencil never runs out.
Yeah. And you can erase your mistakes as well.
Yeah. Very, very well said. Very well said. Nikhil, एक अजीब सा सिचुएशन मेरा बिजनेस क्लास में हुआ. I want to tell you that I attend business management classes with Sparrow Sprout. So we all business heads asked, will you help us to recruit salespeople? We said, yeah, but it is not easy. Yeah. You are conducting classes for business management students, and then why it's so difficult? Then he said something, Mr. Sudhir Sakpal. The last survey he conducted in MBA and BBA, he asked everybody, the entire batch, how many of you wanted to become salesperson? The answer was 0. So the entire batch, we are all salespeople. So we were completely stunned. So I just wanted to know, is this a trend in the industry, or is there anything that you can, with your experience, change the mindset of youngsters to come into the sales, real hardcore sales?
So you're asking probably the right or the wrong person. I don't know. I'm a CA and in sales. So, but let me tell you this, that when I came into sales, it was not by design, but I liked what people were doing. So as you said, to just continue from your first question, CA to, a mutual fund. So as a CA, I realized that what am I doing? I'm helping people pay taxes. I'm helping people audit their companies. Why? Do they enjoy it? No. The government asked them to do it.
Yeah.
That was the industry was just nascent and I was just finishing my final CA. So I got an internship with a mutual fund house. And there I realized that this is something new I'd never heard of. And here I really felt that I'm doing some value add to an investor. I'm compounding his money. I'm helping him create wealth, which probably no one helped my father do.
That's like 180-degree opposite.
Absolutely.
From the desk to the field.
And it gave me a different way of, and I realized that being a CA, so some of the financial terms that time, debt was selling, indexation and all. So how could I simplify it? So I understood the way of simplifying it. So then I said, if I could simplify a lot of financial jargons and make it easier for a bigger audience to understand, it will make a lot of people's jobs or lives easier to understand finance. And coming to your second point about sales, I believe from childhood we have always looked down upon salesperson. There are boards which are
Absolutely, I completely agree with you on that.
there are boards which are put, salesmen not allowed over here. And I used to question myself right from a baby. I have a young daughter, so she also sells herself, right? I want milk, she starts crying. She's pitching it. If any and everyone, every student who said no to sales, he's going to be selling himself in an interview room. He'll be selling himself in
goodness.
a group discussion that he's the right candidate.
That's a savage answer.
Everyone is into sales, whether you like it or not. Everyone is offering either selling himself as a position to a job or probably for a promotion or probably a CEO's desk. So every person in any role is basically in sales. He doesn't know that. Only thing is we know it better, that we are in sales.
Yes. One of the things that I wanted to ask you is, there are a lot of fintechs presently in the market, and they are doing a good job in canvassing and bringing in fresh investors. But when I discuss with a lot of people, most of them say they have never received any advice how to manage the portfolio. So I wanted to know, what are the pitfalls of going with a robo-advisor and a advisor who is available with you?
So a very interesting question, but the way I look at it is it's each one to himself. But what I always believe is when you want to attain a higher level of knowledge, you always seek a guru. So for basic, you don't probably need one. And same thing is often in investments. You want someone to be there the entire journey. Investment is not a transaction. It's a journey.
Yes,
and in that journey, you learn a lot. And for that, if you want to be with someone always, because this journey is not an easy journey. We've all seen cycles in our life. So to know that, to navigate those cycles, you always want a guide or a guru, which in our investment terminology is what we call a financial advisor, who's always there with his clients. And advice is very, very personalized, which is why it's called personal finance. So everyone's path to enlightenment through a guru is different. But definitely you need a guru to seek that path to enlightenment. And in our jobs, what we call reaching financial goals.
You quoted a word which is enlightenment. That's really very good. And I think a lot of people will be able to connect to that.
Yeah.
Last SEBI report. I know you are well aware about what is happening in the industry. It was very, very painful to see that that 97% of the investors lost their money doing trading. With your inputs and your learning, will you be able to differentiate between the trading and investing in as simple words as possible?
See, we are those generation, I may say, who used to go down a building to play cricket or football or some games. We used to call our friends, wait for them. It was a patient thing. Then someone would get his bat, someone would get his ball, and we all had a team. Nowadays, kids just go on their, game pods, front of the TV, all alone, sit, enjoy it. So the patience factor is gone. The collaborative factor is gone. So something like that in investments. Investment is not easy. It takes time. You require to have friends around, people, family who can guide you. And it's a ups and down journey. It's not comfortable. You have to move out of your house. Your gaming is simply sitting in front of a TV, artificially looking at challenges and trying to press some buttons, which some people have taken to investments. That I play some buttons and I make money today. If not, I again do it again tomorrow. See, gaming at your home is a different thing, but when you're doing the same with your money, you have to be slightly more cautious. I did the same mistake when I finished my CA and I thought that I knew it all. So before I started my mutual fund career, I dabbled in trading, and trading that days was not as easy as pressing buttons. You had to have a broker and all. And I realized that if making money, pressing buttons was so easy in life, why does all the best businessmen in the world and in India don't do it? Why is Mukesh Ambani still creating businesses? Why is that Elon Musk getting those launching retractable rockets? Why can't he just sit on a desk and do trading? So they have realized that, the life is about creation of value. That's when you get more money for it, not by pressing a few buttons.
Yes.
And you rightly said the data says that most people will not make
Yes.
money. Majority, more than, including the founder of Zerodha on his tweet had mentioned that.
Yes, I read that.
So that says it all. But people want fun and money.
Yeah, it's more of a gambling.
Yeah.
And with that, you actually answered one of my question also. That is, no, all these people in the industry, they wouldn't have been working.
True.
With all the knowledge possible.
Absolutely. And the resources possible.
All the resources possible. so very well put that way. Nikhil, आपने ये बताया कि you also dabbled in trading. तो थोड़ा सा और elaborate कर सकते हैं. Presently, हमने देखा कि young generation, they are into cryptocurrency, forex and intraday trading. ये करना चाहिए या नहीं करना चाहिए बिल्कुल?
See, I never say no to anyone. Learn from your mistakes. But don't make such a big mistake that there is nothing to learn from. So you want 90% of your money, let it be in the normal long-term way of investing. 10% do your mistakes. You learn from it. And at least you will only lose 10. Don't try 100. Even the 10, don't lever it. Don't take loan or leverage and do it. But at least you will learn. I learned it the hard way. And sometimes those lessons stay with you the long in life. And the sooner you make your mistakes, the better. Losing 5 lakhs is much better than losing 5 crores. I've seen in 2008, 1,000 crore client becoming 150 crore client. That's the best way to make millionaires out of billionaires.
Oh my goodness. Very scary.
Yeah.
मुझे एक चीज जानना है. बहुत बार कस्टमर्स जब आपसे बात करते हैं तो बोलते हैं कि आप पी दे के इन्वेस्ट करो. बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन मार्क है मेरे लिए. तो मुझे जानना है कि P, is that important in mutual funds or it should be just left to fund manager? थोड़ा सा सरल लैंग्वेज में समझाइएगा.
See, P it's a very relative term. For some, P of the market is there, it's expensive. But market is what? There are various markets. Nifty 50 is one. Then there are various such indices and more indices are being made. So for me, the best part is P is best left to professionals who understand of P of a market, what its factor is. There are also most of the P published that clients look at is your current P, not your forward P. What is the difference between them? And that best an expert can understand and probably do it. What mostly a client should look at investing is personal investments of goals, which is what are my goals for? It's like saying that P, just assume it's a speedometer. If you're driving, can you constantly look at the speedometer? You will probably create an accident.
Yes.
Let the driver do it. You just be enjoying the drive. And he's a more experienced professional to know what the speed should be in what kind of a road, what kind of a terrain. So same thing that a fund manager and your advisor will do it for you.
Okay. So, following that one, since you said goals, one of the program that I run is FIRE, Financial Independence to Retire Early. The best part that I enjoy in this is, there was a time when I create goals for 50 lakhs or 1 CR. People used to come and say, Anthony, I don't think I can ever achieve this. Then I say, I will not water it down. I'll continue the goal. You start a normal investment. Amount doesn't matter. Now, the Gen Z, Alpha, and a part of millennials, they come and say, start with the 10 CR. And there are clients who approached me for 20 CR. Now, what is the strategy that you think is right for all these people who are coming into wealth management?
See, I think so. There is no good or bad, right or wrong. I think so. People have underestimated it. When I joined this industry, 1 crore was like, you have achieved everything. Today, 1 crore is the first step.
Yes.
So, and I believe the way people have not realized. So, in fact, I'm happy people are thinking of 20 crores and beyond, because the way I look at people is people are estimating their future on today's costs. So, I tell people, if you look back 10 years, 15 years, 20 years in your own house, you didn't have probably ACs. You didn't have a flat screen, huge television. You didn't have so many mobile phones. You didn't have a washing machine. If you had a refrigerator, the size has increased.
Indeed, it is.
So imagine now how many things have come in your house, basic stuff, which earlier were luxuries are now necessity, including your car. All these things, the list is going to increase. You still don't have a dryer. You don't have a dish cleaner, dishwasher, and many more things are going to come, which will become part of your life. And every time you replace any of this, you are always enhancing it. You move from a...
It's all about life enhancing.
Window AC, you've gone to split AC. From a television, which was a Onida or which of those brands were there, we have come to a flat screen plasma and the televisions are getting thinner. Your cars, you would have started with a WagonR, you want to buy a Tata Nexon, and probably future you would buy a EV. So everything. But now imagine your retirement. How many years to live? How many of your basic cost aside, just replacing all these in your house is what's going to be the cost.
Yes, humongous.
And new additions coming in. So that itself says that your goal is always getting enhanced. People are conservatively planning their future, I believe. They should be planning it with full force because things are changing.
Valid point. Conservative. That should not be happening.
True.
They should aggressively plan bigger goals.
Still not added medical costs. Your dentals.
Yes.
And in fact, the older I grow, or the more I have seen the years in life, I've got to know about more fields of medicine. I remember like physiotherapist was not a known person. Now almost every other person I know has been to a physiotherapist, is planning. A dietitian was not a known fact in my childhood. Now everyone else is seeking a dietitian. Now these are various other doctors who are there that you will be coming in place thanks to our lifestyles, thanks to the way the world is. Now these are costs not added and nor do medical insurance pay for that. So now imagine after your fire, bigger fire is going to be lit in your life.
Yes. Very true. Very rightly put that. Nikhil, going forward, I wanted to discuss something which has been a painful chapter for me almost every week. That is layoffs happening in the industry.
Yeah.
So I've seen a lot of youngsters calling and asking for stopping their SIP. And it is not only a personal turmoil, it's a professional turmoil too. So to this lot, especially the youngsters who are ambitious, who must have planned a lot of things that adds up to the liability. So what will you tell them? And also what will you tell their parents who's going to face this frequent pink slips?
See, I think so. Learn to firstly accept it. It's a part of life. Sometimes I tell people, could you lost your job early on in your life? A CEO losing a job is more painful than an early employee. So sometimes the challenges you face early on in your life is you should be happy that this happened right now.
Oh, that's very blunt, but it is valuable.
I've been through that. So I was jobless in my start of my career for 3 months. And imagine a CA chartered accountant rank holder. Of course, I was not sacked, but I just left the job because I didn't like it. But for 3 months, I didn't find a job. And I had to start questioning myself. What am I doing? I'm a CA rank holder. Check my certificate. It's a CA certificate rank holder. I'm not getting, because of course I didn't want to be in the field. I wanted to change the field. And you are sitting at home and your parents look up to you that what are you doing?
Yes.
So I've been through that. But I stuck to my conviction that I will do what is right. I will not. So even 3 months and I quit my job. So imagine I can understand what people are going through. But I stuck to my conviction. It will take time. I've also seen the same thing happening during COVID. People lost jobs.
Yes, indeed.
So there will be phases, there will be cycles, and which is why with money, the relationship has to be so strong in terms of not getting swayed away when you're doing very well. That taking loans, taking EMIs, spending a lot, because that monsoon that we think of, in probably during seasons it might come, but in life it can come anytime. And how soon that monsoon can turn into a storm, we don't know. So it's always better to keep that emergency money aside, that anything challenging, etc. And you get to see a lot of such news in newspapers. You know, a young couple recently, New Bombay, had an accident.
Yes.
The father passed away. The wife is serious. The daughter is very young and he had lost his job recently. So when you feel so sometimes blessed in what we are, but at the same time that teaches you that when God has blessed you, don't let that blessing go away. Plan your future every day. And for that,
Yeah.
there are advisors like you to help a lot of people in those parts.
Thank you, Nikhil. We are doing our best. My team often calls them and asks for their medical policies. Especially, we insist that when you leave the company or if you're fired, there are chances that you will be out at home without a medical policy.
Yeah.
So please take care of that. We're doing our bit. Thanks to the industry, thanks to all the teachings that you have been given us. Completely outside the box question. This is about the political system and their importance. So I would like to know, as an industry specialist, does this elections, especially the recent one, US elections, and the ongoing assembly elections, and do they really matter to the mutual fund industry or to the stock market?
I believe it's a very, myopic thinking, election results and all. How many elections have happened in the last 40 years? Do we remember all the elections? We don't even know how many seats which party got. When an Infosys founder who created one of the most stellar companies in the country never thought of whose government is there. Should I start a company like Infosys? Should I take my wife's jewels and to start the company?
What a beautiful analogy you're giving.
Belief. And the same analogy, do we think about, should I then spend so much on my schooling of my kid? If the government changes, if the country is going to get hopeless, we never think that way, right? We still send our kids to school. We still get up in the morning and go to office. We still go and do everything in life. So it's not about what elections are going to do the market. It's what you are going to do is what's going to matter to you in the life. If you have done your right SIPs, you've continued your SIPs, like COVID, people thought the world is going to end. Those who stopped their SIPs, those who redeemed their money, lost it. Those who continued it, stuck on the path, made it. So and that was, I think, the first kind of an event that the world has not seen in quite many centuries or decades.
Yes.
So then says that all to us, that just stay on your path, have the belief, we'll come back. And India especially is a country which I believe that we have decadal growth ahead of us. So I feel very, very sad that, FI is probably a more faith in our country than Indians.
Oh my goodness. So that is really very, very well put in. Regarding this elections, what you said, basically what you're saying is stay focused on your financial independence journey.
True.
Nothing else actually matters.
Nothing else.
And there are people in the industry to look after if there is a policy change.
Absolutely.
So this is a valid point, and I think all my audience listening to it and then not worrying about the election results, which often flood my WhatsApp messages.
Ask them what happened 10 years back in the election. None of them will even remember. Tell them the date of the election result when it came out, they will not remember.
Yes.
Ask them 10 years back, which was the day when to vote, where they had a stamp of voting on their finger. None of them will remember. So always human mind is made for recency.
Nikhil, there's a lot of clamor in the industry regarding AI, artificial intelligence, and also recently I read a lot of articles about Web3. I wanted to know how AI is going to be influencing the industry to evolve, and will the fund managers have something to worry about, or when it comes to advisors, should they be upscaling themselves?
For me, it's a enhancer. So for fund managers, it will be much easier to decipher information. It will help in their decision-making ability. And now they're going to thousands of Excel sheets. So if you remember in the evolution of a balance sheet earlier used to get in courier. You have to read so many balance sheets.
Yes.
Then it became email. Now probably an AI will make it easier for them to read multiple numbers, balance sheets, juggle out numbers. So AI, so it's like nuclear power. Either you get fearful of it if it's a bomb, or you can use it to create clean energy. So it depends on how you use any new technology that comes. And I always believe in for mutual fund advisors, it will be an enhancer. Because I still believe India is starved of mutual fund advisors for the number of clients that are there. probably AI will help many more advisors to reach out to many more clients, make their jobs easier, focus on getting more clients to achieve their goals. So I believe it's going to be a very, very strong enabler.
Absolutely music to my ears.
True. And it's going to be a fact. So I look forward to people adopting it the faster way. So what is AI? If I make it simple, advisor and investor.
Oh my goodness, that's a very, very, very nice way to put it across. Advisor and investor. In fact, Nikhil, I was planning to introduce somebody to my team who could teach them AI-based learning. And so it's about being abreast with what is happening.
True.
So being a science student, I am very close to all this, what is happening. Including the one that you mentioned about Elon Musk. So AI is here to change, and we should evolve with it. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
Wonderful take on that one. And advisor and investor, I'm definitely going to remember that for quite some time now. Thank you. Almost all programs that I attended of yours spoke about a fund which gives you exposure to Berkshire Hathaway. I am not naming the fund. I want you to name it. Why is it so close to your heart?
See, for me, it's about everyone talks about the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett. His quotes are used so generically. He's actually been the epitome of what a true investor should be displayed into the world. And his one stock is the most expensive stock in the world. Yes. And that's the one fund which you can easily own it through with the most minimum amount. In fact, I won't even name the fund. Let your investors seek it through you. Because if it's right, then it will be part of the portfolio. Also, we always talk about diversification. Why not have investments diversified even in global companies, which is our as an investor? So I always believe, why should we be worried about FIs? Indian investors should be FIs to the West by owning so much of their good companies the way they want to own our good companies.
Yes.
And mutual funds give them that easy way of owning that, which should be a benefit for all.
I must tell you, just after that class, I walked out, opened my mobile, and I registered my SIP. And then I gave this information to my elder son. He's a journalist based out of London. What he said is, you can have Berkshire Hathaway? Like, yes, through one of the best mutual fund. So thank you for that wonderful lecture that you gave that day. And I can, it's wonderful experience.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now we are, like you said, it's, people use Warren Buffett's quotes very loosely, generically. How many people follow him? It's not much. So if I have to ask you, what will it take to create hundreds of Warren Buffetts in India?
Decades. Because that's what created Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett was not creation of a year, a month, a day. Warren Buffett is Warren Buffett because for the decades that he gave to constant learning, to constant being in the market, for that patience, which is why even after so many decades, we only have one Warren Buffett.
Wow. So yeah, when I was reading about him, it said he started at the age of 11. He became a billionaire at 62. So most people started recognizing him as a billionaire after the tedious journey of so many decades. So what you said is so apt. That
also, to add to it, every Warren Buffett needs a Charlie Munger. So Charlie Munger is no longer there. So that way, you always need a good sound advisor along with you for this entire part of the journey.
Yeah, you need a good partner.
Yes.
You definitely need a good partner.
Yes.
And Nikhil, one of the close to heart subject is not seeing any more poor people in India. If I have to ask you, keeping a hand in my heart and ask you, what will you give to the governors to eradicate poverty in 3 simple words.
So let me put it this way. Firstly, poverty is also a mindset. I've seen rich people also feel poor. So
Okay.
money is just one element of eradicating poverty. Poverty is in mind. Second, I believe why we always look at government for eradicating poverty. I think so each one of us can easily do it. These are two of the best examples in the world and countries whom I respect the most. Among the most respected country I personally look up to every time is Japan. You can't find a country which was demolished, which faced the wrath of World War II with nuclear bombs being put over there, to being one of the most developed countries which has no oil or any resources to talk about, like a lot of Middle Eastern countries or Venezuela and all can talk about. They didn't invent anything. Cars were before Toyota got created. Phones or electronics were there before Sony got created. But one vigor which can create that sentiment amongst all of us to come out of poverty is the discipline, which you can learn from them, the cleanliness to learn from them. And one thing which I personally follow and I expect everyone is that if you are an Indian, buy only something from an Indian company. That's how Japan is Japan.
That's very patriotic.
Because the moment you buy things which are made in India, your money stays in India. We spend so much of money to import oil. We also spend enough money to import single malts. Rather, there are enough being made in India. So right from your car to your drink can be a made in India company. You make multinationals out of India rather than buying from multinationals outside India.
Basically, think local.
Think local. You will create employment. So many times people think of doing charity. I said charity is one time. But right from your toothpaste to your soap to everything that if you buy from an Indian company, you're creating long-term employment. That money stays in India. That company promoter will invest more in India to start a new company. He will create more employment. And wherever there is more employment, automatically crime comes down, poverty comes down, education level starts going up, and the entire country gets elevated. You have seen that happening in Japan. You've seen that happening in Germany. So these two are astounding examples that you bring nationality back in your wallet, not just in your heart.
Very insightful. Very insightful it is.
And I'm a living example of that. So right from toe to my top, everything that I'm wearing is made in India, including everything that I own. I transition to that saying that if I really want to think about, elevating people, this is the most simplest way which you can do it. And there are established examples like Japan, which have been able to do it. Apart from that, the discipline. So if every Indian shows that discipline in their work, the vigor, I think so we are not too far away. We don't have to wait for governments. It's in our hands, including even the governments we vote for, but we don't have to vote for them. We can do it with our wallet power also, not just the voting power.
Wow. Wallet power and the voting power. Wow. Fantastic. Awesome statement that is. Now, going forward, let me just ask you, 2 decades been in the industry? If given a chance, what will you do to make investing mutual funds and other associated products easily available for every citizen in India across all PIN codes?
I think so. What India needs, mutual funds are available. What India needs is lakhs and lakhs of mutual fund distributors, because the population is growing. Your retirement is going to be the next biggest pandemic. And you need lakhs and lakhs of mutual fund advisors to solve this pandemic. Because what I realize is personal advice is always very personal. The more you have personal financial advisors in the country, which is why we're coming back to one of your previous questions, salesmen.
Yes.
In the advisory business, very much required, who don't make it a job but a profession to impart financial education through getting financial goals done. And that can be only done by human. Robos, technology can be an enabler, but it will not be an ends to the mean. You will require lots and lots of mutual fund distributors in the industry to ensure that the last mile connect is there. It's like, think of an FMCG product, an HUL or some of these big behemoths are known because they have got a distribution set up across the last PIN code. How many mutual fund distributors are across the last PIN code? Until that doesn't happen, there is a long journey and a long and a big opportunity for a lot of young people who probably want to be part of a business or a profession, which I believe is at a top, you can say, in terms of hierarchy, where you are ensuring that your clients achieve their financial goals within their life.
I must add one of my message I received when I opened my office. This is from Commodore Gurtinder Singh Khera. He was the president of US Club. So I used to go to a party. Very good friend. I look up to him for, finest of the thoughts. He wrote to me, Anthony, I couldn't make it to your office, but then so happy to see your growth. And he said a word. It's actually touched me. He said, you are in a noble profession.
Yeah.
Now, when you explained all those, it actually connected me to that statement.
So let me add one more line to it. I sometimes believe that one mutual fund distributor advisor who got that one SIP started, who could have probably got that one person on his financial path journey, could have probably changed the path of that client's future generations. So that one advisor would be responsible for so many generational changes that would happen in that client's life. A doctor probably would stitch up my arm if it got fractured or something. But a mutual fund advisor could end up changing the destiny of future generations by getting him financially sorted.
Wow. Thank you. That actually elevated my mood. Okay. Now we are almost at the end of our conversation. It was very, very enlightening and it was lively. And thank you, Nikhil. On a lighter note, I don't know, I should be asking this because you are already settled, but still, if you were not in this profession, where you would have been?
I think so. There are two ways to answer that. One is life is random. So don't know where I would have been. I had not planned in my childhood to become a CA. And while doing a CA, I planned to be in mutual funds. So life is random the way markets are.
Okay.
The second is, if I look back, probably in some field which would have to do with communication. Because that something comes very naturally to me to communicate something simple, more complex. So don't know which that field could be. Even this field is communication.
You water down all the concepts very, very easily. Water it down and then give it to people. So I think, that would have been a very good job.
It could be either advertising, marketing, media. I don't know. I can put a finger on it.
Yeah.
So something on those lines.
Wow. Thank you so much.
My pleasure completely.
Thank you, everyone. It was an insightful conversation with Nikhil Kamat. We are looking forward to having many such podcasts in the future, helping you understand investment journey in the simplest way possible. Thank you once again.